Logging in, it's Seira. Today, Pewdiepie said,
Nihongo bros. How is the translation? Is it true or is it kind of awkward?
I am not Japanese, but I know Japanese. I can speak it okay. So I have these timestamps, the dialogue, and this is the sub. If you are Japanese and if I was wrong at some parts, feel free to be angry. So our first...
When I was angry.
The dialogue was Funi ga umi o otteiru. Shi o osoreru na nomikomareru zo. So the subtitle was there must be thousands of them. We face death and defend our home. That at no part of that was a translation of the dialogue. So the translation is Funi ga otteiru is the ships chase the sea. Fune is a ship and umi is the sea. Otteiru is chase. So for the next one is Shi wo osoreru na. It's exactly translated to do not fear death. Nomikomareru zo is you will be devoured. So this one is pretty weird. The translation is cool. It's still cool. So I don't know why they had to make a new subtitle for it. The next one is Dareka ga ore o mite kureta. It was translated to someone worked hard to keep me alive, but the exact translation is actually someone looked after me. Dareka ga is someone, ore o mite kureta is looked after me.
Oof.
Okay, so the translation in How Are You Wounds and Can You Run is actually very accurate. The only thing is they translated hayaku, naka ni modotte hayaku, to back inside now. So hayaku is actually faster and now is ima. It's not one of those very deal breaker translations, but if you're trying to learn from it, okay, so at the first part, she was screaming Korosanaide, which they translated into don't hurt me. Korosanaide is actually don't kill me. Korosu is kill. Naide is don't.
Yosh!
Okay. At that part, Dore hodo neteita and how long was I out is kind of accurate, yeah. But neteita is specifically is translated to sleep. Sujitsu shima no hanbun ga nottorare shimatta yo. The sub was long enough for the Mongols to conquer half of the island. It's kind of similar, but a more exact translation would be a couple of days sujitsu. So it's not long enough. Shima no hanbun is half the island. And nottorare shimatta is been captured or conquered. Okay. What? Ojiue ga uketa haji susumi ni maitta was subtitled into I have come to avenge his honor. I've translated it into I have come for the shame that my uncle has received. So shame is haji. Ojiue is uncle. Susumi ni maita is I have come for.
Nande?
Dosuru Sakaijin was subtitled into This is Your Time, Lord Sakai, which is not a translation. So, sa dosuru Sakaijin. Dosuru is what will you do. Do is more how, but if you put it as dosuru, it's more what will you do.
Chichi.
So his father says, Jing te kasanka. and they translated it to Jin help me. But the translation is lend me a hand. Te is hand. Kasanka is lend me. Help me is actually taskete, but I guess help me suits the scene better.
すべて私のせいです。
ジン、
Okay.
それでも武士か。
Oh, wait.
父上は私をかばって。
So they translate the subtitle of Subete Watashi no sei desu is I couldn't save him, I was a coward. The translation is actually everything is my fault. Which to me this part is kind of important because it, even though a little bit, it changes the how you look at a character. His uncle replies with Sore demo bushika, which is you are samurai. So one thing is bushi and samurai. Samurai and bushi kind of pertains to the same individual. So bushi is more of the culture and the code of a samurai versus a samurai just being a samurai. So the next one is chichiue wa watashi o kabatte. This means father protected me, but they subtitled it into he died because of me.
これを父と思え。
Okay. As he was giving the sword, the clan sword, to Jin, he said, これは父と思え, which is, think of this as your father, instead of he is always with you. This changes the scene a lot, because he is with you is different from think of this as your father. Think of this as your father connects the storyline to the sword instead of he is always with you, which is like floating somewhere around there.
Guess Japanese is such a difficult language to translate.
I can only talk for myself, but obviously it will be easier for someone who's proficient in both English and Japanese. But the thing is, for me, the thing that makes Japanese very hard to translate or to teach is not just the words itself. Like there's a lot of words that sound similar. Like they have two ways to say 4. They have 2 words to say 7. Yeah, something like that. The hardest for me is kanji, because kanji has 2 ways to be read, which is the way how the Chinese reads in Chinese and how it reads as it's written or something like that. But there's just 2 ways of reading kanji, and then I think there are more words in Japanese that doesn't have an exact translation. Like for example, yoroshiku onegai shimasu is really always translated weirdly. You know what it means, but you don't really know how to translate it. Even otsukare-sama, it's a greeting, right? It's a greeting for someone who has been working hard or who has worked the whole day. But the translation is actually otsukare is tired, and sama is what you put after some and it's weird to greet someone, oh, you're tired. Like when your mom is coming home and she's from work and you're just gonna say, oh, you're tired. It's really weird, but when you say otsukare-sama, it's more of understanding or acknowledging that he has worked hard and, thanking him for the work that he does, maybe. I talk too much. 124.20.
Chill for a minute.
先生の伝説は誠ですかね。
伝説。
だと。
Densetsu. So he said, Sensei no densetsu wa makoto desu ka? So they subtitled it as, are the stories of Sensei Ishikawa true? I've translated it to as, are the legends of Master true? So Sensei, if you watch a lot of anime, Sensei is used a lot on teachers. Well, obviously Sensei means teacher, but it also could mean master or someone higher than you that knows more and someone you
respect.
Densetsu isn't stories. Densetsu is legends.
探している。 It's so funny, like, learning Japanese, one of the easiest way to remember things is with mnemonics.
Even my mother had mnemonics on ninjin, which she said sounds like ninja. And then from then on, she just imagined little carrots running around looking like ninjas, dressed like a ninja. I'll show you a bit of if you're learning Japanese. I'll show you a bunch of mnemonics I found on Google. You can use that. Okay. I took this part
Got a
as
little
an
camp.
example. He said gojiai, doka gojiai kudasai, which they translated it to, I think, may the gods be in your favor or something like that. Okay, they translated into go with the kami's protection or go with the gods' protection. So let's go to translation. Okay, so I went here just for you to see how hard or why it's hard to translate Japanese. So let's write gojiai. So these are how much kanjis can be translated as gojiai, but they all mean different things. Let's go with this first. Okay. Gojiai, they translated it as self-love. With this kanji, because this kanji specifically is it translate to I or love, and this one is okay. And this one is G, which is yourself. Let's go back. Okay, so from self-love, it goes to charity. So we still have that I, but if we remove and just megumi, see? This is charity? Yeah, charity or love. Or to be affectionate. And then if we change it back to goji-ai and just choose a different translation, I mean a different kanji. Okay, so this time it means time. This, even though in this part it says toki, this can still be read as ji. If you read it as ji, it means hour, like this one. This one. So if you're telling the time, like for example, it's 1:47, it's ichiji yonjunanapun. So this is hour, and this can be called ji. So this could still be read as goji-ai. And then this kanji means go, which is combine or to combine. So that's why I said Japanese is kind of hard to translate because of kanji.
Novel from like 1971, and they obviously modernized it a lot. They have YouTubers in it. It's really weird. This YouTuber from Estonia. They have esport.
Why is it important that her mom chased or saw a fox as before, I think the day he was born, is because foxes are Inari's messengers. They use the word otsukai, they're usually translated into messengers, but otsukai means helper.
What's up?
Okay. Actually, I wrote it wrong. It's supposed to be Hayao. And I can't edit it because it's in view mode. Okay. Jin matte tayo, and was subtitled into Jin, you found me. Matteta is actually waited for you. Hitori de taoshita no ka, which he said you handled them well. But it's actually translated into did you defeat them by yourself. Hitori de is by yourself. Hitori is alone. And then taoshita is defeat. And then there's kuru nara hayaku kite. Hayao kushinu koto datta yo. So they subtitled it into I should have heard him coming. I let myself get distracted. Which is kind of far. It's really far. You should have come sooner. I almost died. Is the exact translation. Not I should have heard him coming. I let myself get distracted.
何度も見てきたんだ。忍び込むしか手はないからね。
まるで野党だ。
不満でもあるのか
We're samurai. Oh.
この島はかつて賊がのさばっていた。しかし武士が乱を鎮め正義をもたらしたのだ。
Again, this isn't a translation, this is more of fun facts. Fun facts with Seira! The reason why, or the differences between samurais and ninjas. Samurais and ninjas. Jin here is a samurai. So first let's go through what the differences between samurais and ninjas. First is status. So samurais are usually from noble clan, while ninjas are common people or like peasants. So for clothing, we can all see that Jin has a lot of clothing, and they're usually bright. Well, not like now, but their clothing is usually colorful and bright and heavy. While ninjas, since they can wear whatever they want, but usually they would be clothed in something that's covers most of your body and just exposes your eye. They're very fit to the skin and very dark. This also is because their way of fighting is very unorthodox, because they're just ninjas and they don't have a code of honor, which is the reason why Jin doesn't like this kind of fighting, is because it doesn't go with his code of honor. Ninjas don't have that code of honor. That's why they like assassinations, ambushes, what were we talking about? Things that make your work more efficient. I think we can all agree that being a samurai with all the code of ethics that they have, it's not very efficient fighting wise. So for service, samurais usually serve whoever the clan leader is, their shoguns, their emperors. So, and they don't necessarily ask for anything in return, because it's more of the respect they have for their master. While ninja serves anyone who can pay the price. So that's all the difference that I know between samurais and ninjas. And I hope this explained why Jin was so against this way of infiltrating the land.
We did it. 69k. Fuck yeah. Thanks, guys. No more likes, though. Let's keep it at that.
This is another of their bushido, or their code of honor. Teki wa mai ni shite se o mukete wa narang. It's translated to face your enemy and do not turn your back. Inochi wo ubau toki mo aite wo misoberu. Even when you take their life, look your opponent in the eye. Nasake to kakugo wo motte. With compassion and resolution. Sore ga samurai no sugata da. That is a samurai's appearance. So yeah, this is really their code of honor, where sneaky things are for the coward, and if you're a samurai, you kill anyone even though they are criminals, with dignity and respect, or with compassion and resolution. Okay, this is one of the nitpicky translations. Nigeruzo is actually we're going to run. Nigeru is run, and hanashi wa ato da, which is we'll talk later. Hanashi is talk, and then ato is later. So he said tetsudatte kure, and he translated to is, are you looking for work?
無理だ。だが菅笠衆に聞いてみろ。筒の氷で猛虎を襲ってるって聞いた。平
Legend.
原の近くの海岸だ。
But yeah, tetsudatte kure is help me, and kure is like a more gangster way of police. So Ronins or straw hats. Ronins or straw hats are actually samurais that have lost their master, either because their master died or their master lost their status. They were stripped off of their status. They are called straw hats because they usually they usually travel around, and since they travel a lot, they wear the Japanese straw hats, which are waterproof.
どちらも死んでおった無念だ。
Because they were already dead. Omae wa mou shinderu.
死ぬべきだ。家族を見捨てたんだ。
己を責めるな。二人の死を無意にするな。お主も猛虎に抗い人を救ってやれ。
努めます。
Okay. So first he said, 助けるとおっしゃった means you said you'd help. 助ける is help, and おっしゃった is actually learn, but it can also be translated into said or say. And then 俺はもう死ぬべきだった。死ぬべきだ. And I think it was kind of cute how at the exact time Pewdiepie said 俺はもうお前はもう死んでいる. So 俺はもう死ぬべきだ is I should also die. So we all know that watashi is not gender specific, but boku is for boys and ore is for men, or something like that. And then 俺はもう死ぬべきだ. 死ぬべき is should also die. So 死ぬ is die. 家族を見捨てたんだ is I abandoned my family. 家族 is family, and 見捨てた is abandoned or threw away. And then 勤めます is I will work, not yes my lord.
お客人がいらっしゃるとはよくぞ参られましたな。
And then after the war,
礼を言う。
it was very strange for Americans to
Okay, so here he said Rei-o-yu, which they subtitled into thank you, which is wrong because Rei-o-yu is actually I say thanks or I give gratitude. So thank you is obviously arigato or arigato gozaimasu or kansha shitemasu, which is more I am thankful. You, this word is say, and then thanks is rei. Okay, so I forgot to add this one.
Apparently there's a thing where you're only supposed to sit at certain areas of the, what is it called, tonkatsu? Like the floor. Because samurais would stab you through the floor on certain parts. I don't know.
Let's search for example. So these are tatami mats. So when they were still new, tatami mats were used as a seat for the nobles or maybe the person who owns the house. Then it was also used as beds for, and as time went on, it transitioned into rooms that were covered in mats. What Pewdiepie said when nobles can only sit at some parts of the tatami mats is, okay, this one. So this part or the edges of a tatami mat is actually where assassins can kill you. In the era of Jin, it is true that you can't sit in this part of the floor because people can go under the house and stab you through this part because these are like traditional Japanese houses, and the reason why they used to elevate the house from the ground is so no moisture from the ground is going to go up, and assassins, or let's say ninjas, can go inside, and if they look up And if they look up, light can show, and they can basically know who is in the room and where he is sitting. So that's why when the nobles sit, they usually make sure that it's not on this edge part of a tatami mat. Okay, so that's all for me today. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned from it. And if you're actually Japanese and I said something wrong, you can freely cancel me down in the comments as long as you like my... Yeah, but like I said, I am not Japanese. I did not officially learn Japanese culture. Anyway, I did not take any classes. Everything I know is basically from researching because I was curious, or anime, or what I learned from when I was in Japan. That's all for me today. If you like it, like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.